Hey guys, today we start with something that smells sharp, tastes bold, and has a way of sneaking into your pores: garlic. You're standing in your kitchen on a chilly morning, looking at a small, papery bulb that most people toss into a frying pan but never dare to chew raw. And here's the twist: you're about to make it part of your morning routine. You don't really know what to expect, but you're curious enough to try. After all, you've read about garlic's role in blood pressure, cholesterol, immunity, and even digestion. You also remember that cheeky saying about how garlic keeps vampires away, and you half joke to yourself that maybe it'll scare off deadlines too. Funny thing, you probably don't realize that eggs are also a sneaky brain booster, but that's a story for another day. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from and what time of day it is right now. I love picturing you across different corners of the world, garlic clove in hand, ready to see what happens. Now, let's start looking for things you don't know. You peel the clove carefully, noticing how sticky the juice feels between your fingers. The scent is strong enough to make your eyes blink twice, and you hesitate. Do you really want to put this into your mouth raw, first thing in the morning? But you do it anyway. The crunch is sharp, almost metallic, and your tongue tingles instantly. It burns just a little, like a mischievous spark that wakes up your whole mouth. You swallow with a gulp of water, half convinced your colleagues will smell you from across the street. The first few mornings are a blend of excitement and mild regret. Your stomach feels a little fiery, but not painful. You wonder if breakfast will taste strange afterward, like everything has been seasoned in secret. And honestly, it kind of has. Your coffee feels more intense. Your toast seems less bland. You joke to yourself that you've accidentally invented garlic-flavored mornings. Somewhere in the back of your mind, though, you sense that something is shifting. By the third day, the ritual starts to feel less dramatic. You still make that face, eyebrows up, eyes squinted, as if bracing for an invisible punch, but you notice your body settling into the routine. The burn fades faster, and your stomach doesn't complain as much. Curiosity grows louder than discomfort. You start asking yourself questions. What is this doing inside my blood vessels right now? Is it working on my arteries like a tiny maintenance crew, cleaning out things I can't see? Of course, your friends raise eyebrows when you mention it. Garlic? In the morning? Raw? You're brave. They laugh. One even teases that you'll never need perfume again. Just walk into a room and everyone will know you're there. You laugh with them, but deep down, you enjoy being the experimenter. You're running a personal study, one that no textbook can replicate. And with each passing morning, your awareness sharpens. The act of chewing garlic becomes less about taste and more about observation. You're noticing your pulse when you sit quietly. You're paying attention to how light or heavy your head feels after waking. You're even keeping a little notebook, scribbling down odd details like felt warmer today or breathing seemed easier. It's playful, almost like keeping a diary for a plant you're growing, but the plant is you. The days stretch on, and soon you don't even flinch before biting down on the clove. It's just another part of your morning, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoelaces. The surprising part is how quickly the hesitation disappears. What once felt like daring is now routine. You wonder, if your body can adapt to this fiery ritual, what else can it adapt to? Maybe resilience is built one small, crunchy clove at a time. As the first week ends, you find yourself looking forward to the moment. The smell doesn't intimidate you anymore. It almost feels like a badge of honor. And somewhere between that first sting on your tongue and the quiet moments of reflection after swallowing, you feel like you're in on a secret one that your body is just starting to whisper back to you. The second week begins, and something subtle creeps into your awareness. You don't notice it all at once. It's not like garlic gives you fireworks in your veins, but you start picking up on details you would usually ignore. When you wake up, there's a lightness in your chest, as though the invisible pressure that used to sit there has quietly stepped aside. You sit with your morning cup, and the rhythm of your heartbeat feels more steady, less like a drummer rushing through a rehearsal. You're amused by how garlic sneaks its way into conversations with yourself. You'll be walking to work and think, was my breathing always this smooth on inclines? Or you'll be eating lunch and notice your stomach isn't grumbling the way it used to after heavy meals. It's like garlic is a backstage technician, adjusting the lights and sound without anyone clapping for it. Of course, you're not immune to garlic's social side effects. That one morning you spoke too close to a coworker, you swore you saw them lean back an inch, smiling politely but probably thinking of mint gum. You laugh about it later, because in your mind, you imagine yourself as a garlic warrior. Your breath is just a shield keeping negativity at bay. A shield that smells, yes, but still a shield. Your digestion starts to feel calmer. Those bloated evenings that used to bother you after rich food are less dramatic now. Garlic seems to nudge your gut like a friendly coach, saying, "Come on, let's process this properly." Even the way your skin feels when you wake slightly warmer, a bit more alive, makes you wonder if the antioxidants are quietly sweeping through your bloodstream, polishing things you can't see. One evening, you sit with a blood pressure monitor just to test your curiosity. The numbers look a little friendlier than usual, but you shrug. It could be coincidence. It could be placebo. Still, a flicker of intrigue lingers. You jot it down in your notebook anyway, marking the date and time. You tell yourself this is not just garlic, this is you observing yourself with sharper eyes. And it's fun, like your own private science experiment, except the lab coat is replaced with pajamas. Humor keeps finding you in strange ways. You try eating garlic with honey one morning, and the taste is so bizarre you almost spit it out laughing. Sweet, sticky, and sharp, it's like your mouth can't decide whether to hug you or scold you. But afterward, your throat feels smooth, and you chuckle at the thought that maybe you've just invented dessert medicine. As the days tick by, you notice you don't crash as hard in the afternoons. That dip around 3 p.m., when your eyelids used to feel like they were made of stone, doesn't hit as brutally. You still yawn, but your energy feels like a steady flame instead of a flickering candle. Garlic may not be a miracle, but it feels like an anchor keeping you balanced, nudging you gently away from extremes. And here's something odd: your mood. You catch yourself smiling at little things more often, like the way sunlight hits your desk or how the neighbor's dog tilts its head at you. It could be coincidence, or maybe the comfort of having a morning ritual that feels intentional. There's a quiet satisfaction in knowing you're doing something small yet powerful for your body, even if no one else notices. Your notebook entries become richer. Heart feels less rushed. Stomach calm after heavy lunch. Energy stable through the day. You look at those scribbles and feel like they belong to someone else, someone more attentive, more in tune. Yet it's you, it's always been you, just learning to listen better. Garlic is merely the tool that opens that door. By the end of the second week, you're no longer just testing garlic. You're building a relationship with it. You've accepted the sting, the smell, and the occasional social distance. What matters more is the subtle alignment happening inside you. You feel as if your body is humming in a slightly smoother key, like an instrument being tuned, preparing for a performance you didn't know was scheduled. And you think, maybe, just maybe, this tiny clove is doing something big in silence. 2 weeks have passed since you began your garlic ritual, and today you sit down with that same blood pressure monitor, half expecting nothing, half expecting everything. You slip the cuff around your arm, press the button, and listen to the machine hum. The numbers appear, and you blink twice, making sure you're not imagining it. The reading is lower, noticeably lower than your usual. You let out a laugh, somewhere between disbelief and relief, like the punchline of a joke you didn't know you were part of. Garlic, of all things, has waltzed in and nudged your blood pressure down. The moment is oddly intimate, like your body is whispering back, "See? I told you I was listening." You feel a spark of excitement. This isn't just theory anymore. This is data. Numbers don't lie, and these numbers are calmer, more stable than the ones that used to glare back at you. You test again the next morning, and the pattern holds. Not dramatically, but consistently. The readings hover in a range that feels safer, kinder, You think back to the evenings when you'd worry about headaches, or the times your pulse felt like it was racing ahead without permission. Now, things feel quieter. It's like your cardiovascular system has taken a deep breath and decided to walk instead of sprint. And of course, humor shows up to keep things light. You joke to yourself that garlic has turned into your personal blood pressure DJ, lowering the volume on the track that used to blast too loud. Another time, as you chew your morning clove, you imagine tiny garlic-shaped workers inside your arteries, sweeping out cholesterol like janitors with miniature brooms. The image makes you grin, and oddly enough, it makes the ritual more enjoyable. Friends are curious now. You casually mention your numbers, and they raise eyebrows. One says, "Maybe it's just placebo." Another laughs, "Well, if garlic really works, the pharmacy's in trouble." You nod politely, but deep down, you know your body is telling you a different story. Placebo or not, the outcome is real, and you're living it. The shift isn't only in numbers. You feel it in the little ways life unfolds. You walk upstairs and don't need to pause at the top. You stand in line at the store, and your pulse feels steady rather than pounding from impatience. Even lying in bed at night, you sense a calm rhythm, as though your heart has learned to pace itself with a gentler beat. Your notebook starts filling with more confident notes. BP lower again this morning. Climbed stairs, no pounding. Energy balanced all day. It's not just observation anymore, it's evidence. You're documenting your body's response like a researcher, but living it like a curious traveler. The journey feels personal, but universal at the same time. You imagine countless others chewing cloves, wondering about the same invisible changes. One afternoon, as you sit quietly, you remember the worry that used to accompany every doctor's visit. That nervous glance at the blood pressure cuff, the quiet fear of numbers too high. Now, that fear has softened. You feel a sense of control, as if a small daily choice has tipped the balance back into your favor. Of course, you keep your humor sharp. You joke to yourself that if garlic lowers blood pressure, maybe onions will pay your bills. You even daydream about starting a garlic morning club, where people from around the world crunch cloves together over video calls, trading notes like scientists disguised as foodies. The thought makes you laugh out loud, and you scribble it in your notebook. Start Garlic Club? But beneath the jokes, there's gratitude. You realize that sometimes the simplest things carry the heaviest weight. A small clove, sharp and stubborn, has managed to soothe something as complex as blood pressure. And the best part is, it's yours. Your discovery, your experiment, your result. By the end of week 2, you no longer question whether garlic is working. You simply accept it. The ritual has become less about testing and more about trusting. Each morning clove is not just a bite of food. It's a promise, a quiet agreement between you and your body that health can be tended with small, deliberate acts. And as you stand there one morning, clove in hand, you smile at the thought. Who knew something so small could silence something so big? You sit in your kitchen one more time, garlic bulb resting casually on the counter, and realize how far you've come in just a couple of weeks. The clove doesn't look intimidating anymore. It looks familiar, like an old friend who greets you each morning with the same sharp personality but somehow always leaves you feeling better than before. You've crossed that invisible line where ritual becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes part of who you are. Your reflections pour in quietly, without the need for fanfare. You think about the early days, the sting on your tongue, the way you questioned yourself, what am I even doing chewing raw garlic? But now, the answer feels obvious. You were listening. You were learning the language of your own body, one small bite at a time. There's comfort in how ordinary it all seems. Lower blood pressure, calmer digestion, steadier energy, nothing dramatic, nothing flashy. Just steady, consistent shifts that speak more loudly than any headline ever could. You imagine your arteries like quiet rivers, flowing more smoothly now, without the turbulence that used to make you uneasy. You even joke to yourself that if your blood vessels could talk, they'd probably say, "Thanks for the garlic." But maybe next time brush your teeth afterward. The people around you notice subtle changes too. Not just in how you seem physically lighter, but in your mood. You laugh more. You respond with patience. You carry yourself with a softness that didn't come from effort but from alignment. And maybe that's the secret garlic never advertised. It isn't just working on your heart in the physical sense, it's shaping the way you carry your heart emotionally too. You don't preach about it. You're not interested in convincing anyone that garlic is magic. Instead, you share your story when asked, with a smile and a shrug. I tried it, and it worked for me, you say. That's enough. Because you know that the power wasn't only in the clove itself, it was in your willingness to pay attention, to take small, daily steps toward better balance. And when you think of endings, this doesn't feel like one. It feels like a beginning disguised as an experiment. The garlic on your counter will still be there tomorrow, and so will you, ready to crunch through another morning, another spark of heat, another moment of quiet change. Now your thoughts slow, words soften, and the story shifts into something gentler. You picture early sunlight streaming through your window, painting the kitchen in warm gold. You see steam rising from your cup, curling upward like soft ribbons. You imagine yourself breathing evenly, heart steady, shoulders relaxed. The garlic clove in your hand doesn't feel like a challenge anymore. It feels like reassurance. The world outside might still be rushing, with horns blaring and notifications pinging, but inside, in this small corner, you've carved out a rhythm that belongs only to you. A rhythm that smells sharp, tastes bold, and leaves behind a quiet calm you never expected. And you hold on to that calm, letting it settle into your bones like a lullaby written by nature itself. Because in the end, this isn't just about garlic. It's about learning that sometimes the smallest changes carry the biggest promises. It's about realizing that health doesn't always come with noise or spectacle. Sometimes, it arrives quietly, like a whisper, like a friend, like a clove of garlic on a morning you'll never forget. Goodbye, see you in the next video.